Hey guys, so today I'm gonna be making my second video. I get asked this a lot about carbs. Are carbs good for you? How much carbs should you eat? So today I'm gonna make a video, hopefully explaining to you everything you need to know about carbs. And if you feel like there's not enough information, feel free to ask me on my Facebook, my Instagram, or just get in touch with me directly. I'm not exactly famous yet. Most of you know me and have my cell phone number. An overview of what carbs are. Everyone seems to be scared of carbs these days. Everybody's on the keto diet and the gluten-free diet and whatever. Carbs aren't bad for you. Carbs feed your brain and your nervous system, okay? They keep your digestive tract healthy, and fiber, yields little to no energy, but it provides a lot of other benefits that I'll be talking about later. So let's review the different types of carbs, okay? So we got the simple carbs, what are often known as sugars. And there's two kinds of simple carbs. There's monosaccharides and disaccharides, okay? Mono meaning one, di meaning two, okay? So let's go look at some monosaccharides. Glucose, which is the most used sugar in the body, also known as your blood sugar. All sugar is converted into glucose in the liver to be used by all your body's cells. Fructose. Fructose is the sweetest sugar, and it's found in fruits and honey. And finally, we have galactose, which is milk sugar. Now, disaccharides. Disaccharides, we have maltose, sucrose, and lactose. Okay, so maltose is glucose plus glucose linked together. This is also known as malt sugar. We also have sucrose, which is glucose plus fructose linked together, which is known as table sugar. And lactose, which is glucose plus galactose, which is milk sugar, which are found in dairy products. Complex carbs. So there are three different kinds of complex carbs. We have starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Starch is glucose found in long chains. Glycogen is similar to starch, but it has a lot of branching, and it's stored in your muscles and liver. Glycogen stands for glyco, which means glucose, and gen, that which produces, right? So that which produces glucose. And then we have cellulose, which is fiber. There's two types, soluble and insoluble. We're gonna get to that later. Glycogen. Glycogen is used in exercise. It breaks down readily into glucose. It's immediately accessible, right? Because you're using, what are you using in exercise? You're using your muscles. Where's glycogen stored? In your muscles. You have about 300 to 400 grams of glycogen stored in your muscles, okay? So think about that as 1,200 to 1,600 calories of energy stored in your muscles, and then about 100 grams in your liver. Glucose is needed for intense short bouts of exercise, so weightlifting, sprinting, that kind of stuff. Now you're gonna ask me, but what about long distance? Now, isn't fat better in this case? Fat can help fuel long distance exercise, definitely, has been proven by science, but glycogen is still required to break down the fat into something that the muscles can use. Right, so glycogen, still your best friend. Now let's go over glucose. All cells in the body use glucose. I can't stress that enough, okay? It is the preferred fuel for the nervous system and red blood cells, as well as for everything during exercise, okay? Keto works, okay? By the way, if you're not familiar with keto, keto is, high fat, protein, low carb diet. Keto works, but it's not optimal. Performance is reduced. You get more groggy, more cranky. Your mental acuity is reduced. Stop doing keto if you don't know why you're doing it and how it works. Just stop. It's for sedentary people and people with epilepsy, or people who really know what they're doing. Okay? Stop doing keto. The liver releases glucose into the blood to be used by all organs and tissues of the body. The remaining glucose that you ingest is synthesized into glycogen and stored. If there's any extra, which happens in most cases, as we'll get to later, it's stored as body fat. I mean, that's just the way the body works. You got extra energy you don't need, store as body fat for later. Carbs spare body proteins, okay? When your carbohydrate intake is less than 50 to 100 grams a day, body protein is used and easily turned into glucose. And I'm gonna explain that in this table. Right, so right here you can see that you have protein that gets broken down into amino acids. Amino acids can be turned into glucose for energy when you don't have enough. Some nitrogen and ketone bodies that you lose in your urine, and then ketone bodies, right? So some of the components of amino acids mix with the fatty acids to form ketone bodies used for energy. Ketone bodies are not optimal, okay? Especially if you're trying to go for performance. ketone bodies are not good. Okay, I'm not saying that they're bad. If you do a lot of research on it and you know what you're doing, it can be good and it can be beneficial for losing weight. But if you don't even understand much of this table, then you're not ready to start doing a keto diet. Okay, stop doing that stuff. Carbs spare body proteins by preventing them from needing to break down to make glucose for energy. Excess glucose. Probably the main reason why most people are afraid of carbohydrates today. The average American consumes about 300 to 500 grams of carbs a day. That's elite athlete training territory. What happens when you're sedentary as the average American, and by the way, when I say average American, that includes Canadians too. We think we're better than Americans, but we're really not. We're on the same page, all right? So what happens when you live a sedentary lifestyle is you don't really burn up much of your glycogen, so you don't really need to replenish it that quickly. And eating 300 to 500 grams of carbs a day, that's to replenish glycogen. When you're in that territory, it's because you've used all your muscle glycogen. So what happens when you're sedentary and you eat all of these carbs is your blood glucose levels go up, which is normal, but they go to abnormally high levels, okay? Insulin is released, but all of your cells have glucose already. So insulin works by causing cells to suck up glucose into them and storing them to use them. But what happens when the cells don't need any and the glycogen is already full? Your body has excess energy, so it's stored into fat, okay? That's how the body works. And on top of that, you can become insulin resistant. If you do this over time, for long periods of time, you become insulin resistant, which leads to weight gain and diabetes. Sugar, carbs, what's the difference? I don't understand. All right, well, let me tell you, okay? Sugar is not synonymous with carbs. Now, sugars are carbs, but not all carbs are sugars. Sugars are generally your mono and disaccharides, all right? Whereas carbs are your complex carbohydrates we talked about. You shouldn't have more than 10% of your daily estimated intake as sugar. So meaning, if you need about 2,000 calories a day, you shouldn't have more than 50 grams of sugar a day. Now, mind you, I said sugar, not carbs. And by the way, when I say 50 grams of sugar, that's pretty high. You don't need that much, okay? You should limit your sugar, not your carbs overall. Okay, so how much do I need? Personally, I'm on a 2,100 calorie a day diet, and I'm losing about an average of 1.2 pounds a week. I get about 208 grams of carbs a day, depending on the day. That's what I try to aim for. But I train 4 to 5 times a week, okay? 208 grams of carbs, forgive me for the math here, but it's about 40% of my daily calorie intake. The recommended amount that I learned in my year of kinesiology is 40 to 65% of your daily calories. If you are not an athlete, I do not recommend going all the way up to 65%. Just because I said 40 to 65 doesn't mean, oh, you know, Jordan told me I can have 65% of my calories a day as carbs, so I'm gonna do that. No, don't do that. I'm working out 4 to 5 times a week and I'm going all the way at the low range. So don't think just because this video was meant to demystify carbs that now you can just have all the carbs you want. You still need to be smart about it. The best way I would recommend to figure this out is Google IIFYM calculator, okay? And use that calculator to determine your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. And then according to whether you want to bulk up, lose weight, or just maintain where you're at, it'll give you the numbers that you need. And now we're just going to talk a little bit about fiber. So what is fiber? Fiber is the structural part of plants, or cellulose, okay? There are soluble and insoluble fibers. We're not really going to get into that. This isn't a lecture, right? I'm just giving you some quick information. The functions of fiber, right? So fiber slows down gastric emptying, which is good, okay? You want your stomach to empty slowly so that your stomach has time to break down everything properly. It slows glucose absorption, which is good, so that your blood sugar levels don't spike too high and insulin doesn't spike too high either. And it keeps cholesterol in check by binding to bile during digestion, okay? Bile is made from cholesterol. So by binding to bile and excreting it, okay, the liver needs to use your blood cholesterol to make more bile. So it keeps your blood cholesterol in check. Also, you know, the less sexy stuff, it increases fecal bulk, eases elimination, and decreases transit time. You know exactly what that means. Yes, it makes you shit. Don't forget to drink water, okay? Fiber removes water, so if you're gonna start increasing your fiber intake, you need to start increasing your water intake. And I might make a short video on that later about water intake. So a summary, okay? Carbs are not evil. You need them to function properly, but you should limit your sugar intake. You need about 40 to 65% of your daily calories from carbs. use if it fits your macros. I forgot to mention that IIFYM stands for if it fits your macros. Try not to eat too many simple carbs or sugars. And fiber is good for you, eat it. We've been saying this forever, fiber is good for you, okay? Eat it. Thanks, and have a great day.